Yes, we can.
Great
Yep.
stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, to make a start, well, welcome along to the presentation. I'm so excited to be introducing this webinar and talking a little bit about the background to why we're discussing this subject. And who would have believed last year, who would have predicted that in 2020 so much upheaval would have been caused? It was completely unforeseeable, but it wasn't all bad. I think we learned a lot of really good lessons, really important lessons about how people and organizations can adapt quickly and can do things very, very differently. So now really is a good time to reflect on our experiences last year and to rethink how we lead our organizations and our people so that they can face the challenges that are ahead. Now, many organizations haven't even begun to think about this yet. They're still really dealing with the crisis. They're still in the middle of it. So what are the challenges that we do face? Well, what I'm going to do is take a quick look at some of the mega trends that are driving change and impacting leadership across the world, and what this means for organizations and for people. So first thing, what is a megatrend? Well, a megatrend is something that it's so big that it affects everything we do on a global level. Before COVID-19, we were already feeling their impact. There was already a lot going on. Things like digital transformation. It was affecting our work, our leisure time, how we learn. And really what's happened is COVID-19 has just amplified that effect. Now, I know there's many people from the education sector here, and I'm sure you will agree with me when education was profoundly affected. Virtually overnight, people went from classroom delivery to having to deliver online. It's pushed us to do so many things differently. Climate change and sustainability, things like carbon reduction, things like concern around environmentally friendly products and services, concerns about water consumption, about the use of single-use plastics, about biodiversity loss. All of these sorts of things are becoming much more high profile and are affecting the way we think and the way we behave. Economic instability and global trade tensions. Now, economic instability has been around for a long time. There's nothing really new about that. But last year was different, and many organizations really suffered. So this year and next year is really going to be the aftershock. And during that time, we'll be trying to work out what the damage has been from COVID-19 and how we're going to recover from it. It's really going to be a period of transition. And demographic and social change. You know, again, before the pandemic, change was already happening. Aging population, social media, lots of things, migration, lots of things were really pushing demographic and social change. And COVID-19 has amplified that. It's really accelerated it. So now we're seeing changes to the way we work, the way we learn, the way we play, the way we relax, the way we interact with one another. So what does this really mean for leaders? Because there's a lot going on. Well, leaders are really at the forefront of these issues. They have to balance the needs of their customers, the needs of their consumers, with the needs of their teams and make them work effectively and well together. It's quite a big ask in the current environment. So what do we do about this then? What's the research saying? Well, it's saying three things really. Firstly, leading remote teams. Permanent remote or hybrid work is a possibility. You know, it depends on your industry, it depends on your function, it depends on what you do, but there's a higher probability now than there ever has been that we'll be moving into remote or hybrid work. And this will really impact people's, the people in the organization, it'll impact your structures, it'll impact your processes and the technology that you use. Now, given all of that, according to research by McKinsey, many organizations have not thought about this yet. They've not communicated a vision for the post-pandemic workplace. They identified in their research that 40% of employees have not had any communication whatsoever from their organizations about what the post-pandemic workplace will look like. How will they operate? How will they work? They've had no communication at all. And 28% of employees have, but it didn't really tell them what they needed to know. It was a little bit vague, and it's left them, in some cases, confused, and in some cases, added to their anxiety. So developing a vision for post-pandemic work is kind of one of the big items at the moment, and we'll talk about that more later. Another thing that the research has shown is the skills gap. Workplace skills needs are changing very, very quickly. Again, even before the current crisis, AI, automation, all of the other technologies that were arriving quickly were changing jobs and changing the skills that are needed in the workplace. Another article by McKinsey, again, in 2017, I believe, what they had identified is that by 2030, so 9 years away, up to 375 million workers, 14% of the global workforce, would need to switch to a different occupational job type. That's a huge change in the skills that are needed. And we're not really prepared for it. So leaders really should be thinking and working out how they're going to upskill and how they're going to reskill their people. And how they're going to attract new talent to build a workforce for the future. Again, research has been done around this area, and there's quite a gap between the demand and the supply, the amount of available people that there are with the skills that we need. And this is particularly relevant to industries like finance and business services. It's relevant to technology industries, to media, to telecommunications, and to manufacturing. The final thing is what's become very obvious is that many people have experienced change beyond their control. What's happened over the last year has been in many cases really dreadful, and they've experienced a lot of trauma in their lives. What this means is many people are feeling psychologically fragile, emotionally fragile, and this can affect their well-being, of course, but it can also affect their performance at work. Now, we're going to be hearing quite a lot about this from our next speaker, Rahaf. She's going to be telling you a little bit more about this and about what you can do as an employee and as an employer to help your people. But the final thought from me before we move on is now is a great time. Thinking about the three imperatives we just talked about, for leaders to think about their vision for a post-pandemic workplace and then communicate that vision. That really will be a good piece of work that will help your people and help their anxiety levels. So I think that's enough from me, a short, sharp introduction, but it's been really good speaking to you. And I'd like to speak a little bit more, but I think now's the time to hand over to the next speaker, and I'll be available at the end if you've got any questions, but really good to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian, for that very lovely introduction.
Thank you, Ian. Now you just made a very nice introduction to what I'm about to say.
Great.
So, ladies and gents, here's Ray, your well-being guide for tonight. So how can you help? Whether you are a leader or a manager or even work in the HR, how can you help? Very simple. Just prioritize the well-being and the mental health for yourself and for your team. And because I know how much we are all keen on time management, energy management, and cost management, today I will be taking you through very simple and cost-efficient ways for you to be able to prioritize the well-being of everyone. So it's going to be a win-win-win situation. I'll help you today to take away two very important action steps. One, it's how to divide your effort in a way that serves you, the company, and the employees. So let's start with that. How can you divide it into three very important categories? Now, as we all know how the pandemic, it goes without saying that it has created many setbacks for leaders attempting to create not only a profitable and productive working environment, but also a healthy and happy one. And for us to be able to provide those employees for resources to help them be at their best, we have to meet them where they are right now. Having said that, let's go to your efforts in three important categories. And I promise you, if you start with the first category, which is prevention and planning, you won't have to do the rest, or at least you won't have to spend so much time on it. What does it mean to prevent and plan? What does it mean to support and understand and measure and grow? Let's find out. When it comes to prevention and planning, it's very important that we, as leaders and as HR managers, to not wait for an employee to have a burnout or to ask for a sick leave while he just fed up from the office, or for him to quit his job because he's simply not happy with the people he's working with and the amount of work he has to do. So what can we do as a leadership team? Prevent that from happening. How? In very simple 6 steps. First of all, it's address the risk factors. Plenty of risk factors. So I will be very brief just to be in respect of the time. One example could be the unhealthy management and leadership practices. Are your leaders equipped mentally, physically, and emotionally, not only professionally, to lead their team and organization to be profitable, productive, and happy? If yes, great. How can you improve? If not, how can you improve? Second step would be to develop healthier policies. What is a healthier policies? Which are the policies that help you prevent burnout. How much are you putting effort and energy to listen to your employees? How much are you giving them and providing them resources to understand what is well-being? We're going to talk about that later on. But what are your policies? Are you more into criticizing your team, or are you more into rewarding them? That's how your policies could help build or break your well-being in the company. 3, promote mental health literacy. Provide more resources that educates your leadership team and your employees on understanding what is mental health, what's the difference between anxiety and stress or even burnout, and what can we do about it. Provide them with things that could fuel their energy in the mind, in the soul, and in the heart, because at the end of the day, we are human beings. So let's educate ourselves to get the tools and the resources to make that happen. Speaking of rewards, reward your team's creativity and teamwork. Not every idea is implementable. Yes, I agree to that. But you as a leader, ask yourself that. How many times as an employee you wished that your leader or your manager just listened to your idea? Many times. So by rewarding our employees, by just listening, acknowledging, and recognizing, we would be doing much of high difference and giving them the space and the opportunity for them to be proactive and more into the productivity. Offer employees a safe place. What does that mean? Give them a room in the company that allows them to break, recharge, and relax. And that room could be for you and for them. Include activities that could be recharging and fueling for the energy in the mind and in the body. Last but not least, which is very important, develop a new company culture. What used to work 60 years ago doesn't work today. By that being, embrace your humanity, because the more human we are, the more compassionate leaders we are, the better, the more compassionate we are, the better leaders we become. That's on prevention. And let's go to the support and understanding. I'm not going to spend so much time here because it's very, it's all about just being there, giving, supporting, listening, just genuinely knowing what are the needs for your employees, because at the end of the day, when you listen to them, that means you appreciate them. That means you trust them. That means you are saying and sending a very clear message. I'm here for you. How can I help? By support and understanding and getting those needs and putting them into the right action at the right time, half of the work is done. Now, how can you know if it's working for you or not? That's how you track very simple and specific things in the company, to track the changes and to see how much progress are you making and what needs to be improved. Of course, briefly, are your employees engaging? What do I mean by engagement? Do you remember that employee who used to come to your office very excited about an idea, but then suddenly he stopped? That means something is wrong. The economic cost, the turnover rates, how many employees are resigning, how many employees are you laying off, and how much is it costing your company? Check what is the company's budget on so many things and where could you balance and move one thing to another to make sure that your employees are getting the attention that they need when it comes to their well-being and the emotional states. Productivity, how many employees used to give their 110% and then all of a sudden it went down to 50%. Something is wrong. Listen to them and see what's going on. The company's reputation. I could name few, but I won't. But how many company has a very good and sharp reputation from the outside, but when you go to the inside, you would discover that it's just BS. Many. Make sure that your reputation is just as equal and as nice and as good from the inside to the outside. That's what matters, because your people matter. Healthcare cost, employees' attitude and well-being. All of these factors will give you your insights and your next action step to make in order to get a healthier well-being. Having said that, if you want to take care of your employees, you can do that if you do not do that to yourself. Start from top down. This quote is one of my favorites, which is, to fulfill their key role there as leaders, we need to take care of themselves, both physically and mentally. When employees observe and see their leaders are taking care of themselves, that's when you become a role model to them, because it's not really enough for leaders to tell their employees, do this and do that, and you'll be more resilient, or you'll be more energetic, or you'll be more healthy. You have to do it. Preach what you teach. Very simple steps. I'm not going to take so much time today, but 2 simple steps leaders can do. Set the example and set boundaries. What do I mean by that? By setting the example, as I said, take the lead. Take the lead, take the lead. Do the activities that you require for yourself as a human being, as a leader, to take care of yourself mentally, energetically, and physically. What do I mean by that? If you want to go have a run, take one of your employees with you, or create a group all together to take care of yourself physically and mentally. Have a group to read books on leadership, on business, on economy. Just like Ian said, the economy is changing. Have a support group to discuss ideas. Set the example. Get healthy snacks to the company and invite everyone to do the same. Have challenges which are healthy and fun at the same time. Set the example, be the leader, and be the change that everyone here is trying to be. Then set boundaries. This pandemic has forced us to embrace new kind of working, new types of working. So for example, as a leader, I want to make sure I'm there for my team and for my employees. So I try to be available all the time on my phone, on my laptop, on my emails, work more, work extra hours, or even take on new projects, because 2020 was a loss for all of us. So we want to make it up in this year. Well, guess what? Red flag, red flag, red flag. Set boundaries. When you do that, it's very important to you, because do not think short term, think long term. By setting boundaries, you are also setting an example that everything has a starting point and an ending point. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, but Rahaf, this will cost us a lot of money. Yeah, I know. But this is why we are doing this webinar for you today, to save you the time, the energy, and the money. If you do not have the budget to create a new well-being program, this is what you can do. introduce something called a wellness hour, just like the lunch break, but to take care of your wellness, where your employees can do whatever they want, whenever they want, for them to be able to recharge. And two, include mental health resources, just like I said earlier. Try to do that in your newsletter, on your website. Just a few tips on how to cope with anxiety. What can I do to be more productive at work? How can I stretch and be more flexible when I'm working all day long in the office? And include those kind of tips for your employees, and believe me, it will make a difference. Equip your managers and your HR directors on how to listen to their employees, how to start conversations on mental health without being shamed, belittled, or even taken advantage of. A lot of managers do not know how to start a conversation on mental health. What do I do when he's stressed? Nothing. So equip your managers with that. Create a Zoom-free day. I was just having a conversation with a colleague of mine, and he said, I'm Zoom fatigued. I cannot, let's meet face-to-face. Create a Zoom-free day where you could discuss the ideas, maybe do one of your group activities, and just have a digital detox day and take care of yourself. And make sure that your mental health strategy, as we were discussing today, top down, because that's how we make the difference, by just leading the example. And as my favorite person on this planet, Maya Angelou, said, it doesn't matter what you make people, what you say or did, people will not remember that. I'm being clumsy now, but they always remember how you made them feel. So why not make them feel good about themselves and about you? I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some cool insights. I'm really looking forward to hear all about it. But before we do, we have, as promised by Mas at the beginning, the poll. So let's do the poll and the asking. I can hear my voice twice. I'm not sure if anyone's listening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Rahaf. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was such a lovely presentation. It made me wonder if I'm implementing the right matters at Yalla Consulting. So maybe we should have a team call after this. But anyways, the poll is officially up and running. Rahaf, can you please give them an insight in terms of how to do the poll? Thank you.
All right, people, let's do this. I love asking questions and answering them. So join us. And for those who want to answer the poll, as Rahima said at the beginning, you have the triangle and the circle and the square at the top right, which is here. And you could see that there's a poll in the middle, which has a green circle at the right. Click on it and you can find the question. And here's your question for today. What strategy should your organization, in your opinion, focus on to build the skills that you need for your own future? Is it reskilling existing employees? Do you think that the existing employees 10 years plus needs to be reskilled, or upskilling existing employees, or acquiring new talent to fill the skills gap, just like Ian was saying? Or nothing, because we are ready for the future. Put on your answers. We, as Yalla Consulting team, we will be answering as well, but just after you're done. So let's do this, everyone. We have how many people attending? 31, including us. We want to see all of you answering, because we might have a surprise for you at the end. So Yalla. Who's getting the answers?
All right, I can see there is some action here live in real time.
There might be a pleasant surprise for you guys. If you have any questions, any comments, even any experience that resonated with what we were discussing today, please share it with us, because we're here for you. We want to be able to add value as much as we can, so we want to speak your language. Share with us as much as you can. What's going on with your managers? We'll keep it a secret, but we'll help you also behind the screen or behind the scenes.
Well, hi, this is Shubha here.
Hi, Shubha.
I just would like to relate to one illustration which we had in in our organization. So what we did, especially when the pandemic kicked off and people were working remotely, we decided to actually contribute to, a well-being hour, which we branded as a Wednesday workplace wellness. And the idea here was on Wednesday morning, the employees, irrespective of wherever they are, would definitely come into a call like this, and we would do a very simple exercise, which is of course a physical exercise, and you could do anywhere at your home. And that was something very engaging because the employees actually enjoyed kicking off the day with a lot of energy, especially on a Wednesday. And we actually very consciously chose midday of the week because that's the time people are very highly stressed compared to the beginning of the week or towards the end of the week. So looking at something where you think you can actually break the chain and kick off and get people energized is always a good thing to do. And it actually also contributes very effectively both to the employees, the leaders, and of course to the whole organization.
Shubha, thank you so much for sharing this. This is why we do what we do, to make more companies like yours to do and follow the lead. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Awesome. So the votes are still ongoing. We'll give it maybe another quick minute or two before the lovely Manal will pop in and talk to us about WWF, which I can't wait for, to be honest.
Yes, me too.
For those that don't know what WWF stands for, it's the World Wildlife Fund. But of course, Manal will be giving us a great intro, so I'm not gonna take this time to talk more. I love talking, but I'm gonna stay quiet. So far, we give it a quick minute. One more minute.
Come on, guys. Answer.
We have 15 votes so far.
Okay.
Let's
Drum
so far,
roll.
yeah, look quick. We'll 30, 29, 28. We'll countdown. Rahaf, do you want to lead the countdown? My voice is not the best, so how about you lead the countdown?
26, 25, 24. That's going to take a lot of time. Come on, people. Answer the poll. Let us know what you think. And as I said, you might get a pleasant surprise. So what do you think? Answers are rising, Majid?
Yeah.
All right, good.
All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. So, what happened? In real time, we had 15 votes in one area and then sort of shrank down to 11. So people started changing their minds.
Someone's having a second.
Last minute changes. All right, 10 more seconds.
Your names are anonymous, people.
I honestly cannot. I'm trying to find out who's playing around with this, but no, I can't.
All right, what's the winning?
Okay, so with. All right, cool. So upskilling's existing employees wins. So we have a total of 11 votes upskilling existing employees, and then it's a tie between reskilling existing employees and acquiring new talent to fill the skills. And there's someone that just changed their answer right now while I'm speaking again to upskilling existing employees. So yep, upskilling, it wins. Good stuff. All right, let's jump into Manal. Manal, can you please share your screen and take a lead?
Do you want me to sort of share the presentation?
That would be great. If you could do that, that'd be amazing. Or would you like me to share? It's up to you, whatever you like.
Share it, that would be absolutely great. Thank you.
I'd love to.
Thank you so very
awesome.
much.
You're welcome. Okay, all right, let's do it. Can't wait for this, actually. Awesome. So for those so before we actually get kicked off, before we start, our guest host, so I know there's a lot of people that joined a bit late. Our guest host today is Manal Bahman, who's going to be presenting now. Manal Bahman is the Director of Operations at Emirates Nature, WWF, the World Wildlife Fund, a very well-reputable NGO. So she's our guest host today, which is very exciting because this is our very first seminar. So to have Manal with us is amazing. But I will stop talking now and I'll leave the floor to Manal.
Thank you so very much. Thank you to Majid, Ian, Rahima, Rahaf. Thank you so very much. And hi and salam alaikum, everyone. I hope you're all having a great evening. I personally want to go thank all of you all for joining tonight. And a really, really special thank you to Yalla Consulting for being so gracious and for having me on. As Majid stated, I'm Manal Bahman, and I'm the Director of Operations at Emirates Nature WWF. Just to give you a bit of insight about this portion of the seminar, this is going to be treated as a personal case study that us at Emirates Nature WWF are going to be presenting to you in what we did behind the scenes in trying to go work in this new world in COVID-19. So this portion of the seminar, I wanted to go take the opportunity to share our experience as an organization and how we as an entity has acclimatized to this new working environment in the COVID-19 world, and to just give you a bit of a brief background about us as Emirates Nature. We are a nonprofit entity working in association with WWF. Emirates Nature, in association with WWF International, was established in 2001 under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and it was created in legacy to the multitude of Sheikh Zayed's contributions to the world of environmentalism, conservation, and sustainability, and in legacy to his vision for the future of the United Arab Emirates. Now, just to give you a little bit of insight on our team is a myriad of different units and individuals. We have different skill sets ranging from experts that are environmental scientists and climate change specialists and business development specialists, marketing, memberships, amongst many others. Now, all of us are so different, but we're working collectively to create a sustainable UAE. Now, in this global pandemic that was catastrophic beyond measure, affecting millions of lives everywhere and their families, it affected us as humans, and our first instinct as an organization was, how do we keep our team safe? Your first instinct is protect, 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 right? Like many other entities across every industry, we struggled. We are a entity that actually is in nature. We're physically and field-based, right? We're a majority of our work is nature-based solutions on the field. We would restore, revive, revitalize plants, animals, physically, go on the field, put in camera traps, put in recordings. And then we sort of were faced with this huge dilemma of, okay, now how do we actually do the exact same thing, but remotely? And how do we keep our team safe whilst we're doing it? Now, I can take you through the immense amount of research we kind of did behind the scenes, what organizations did globally, regionally, locally. The truth is every single one of our respective and relative situations are completely unique. What I can tell you, though, is that our leadership was integral at this moment. They supported us in working fast, and they supported us and kind of were pushing us to be proactive and not reactive. We completely changed our model via an exosprint over an 8-week process, and in 8 months, down to the T, we had a completely new organizational model with a completely new transformative purpose. Now, what I'll be presenting to you is not the who, what, where, when, why. I'll be presenting to you the how. I'll be sharing tools that you can use and some recommendations. Tools and recommendations that we personally in the organization have used, and it genuinely has transformed us. Now, let's remember, we're all unique. You don't need them all. Not everything is going to be relevant to you, but I'm hoping that walking you through these processes, these tools and recommendations, you can be allowed to be able to customize some solutions that could befit your own unique situation. Now, I'm going to be starting with, COVID-19 and how that has forced us to embrace the fourth industrial revolution. This pandemic really acted as a catalyst for all of us around the world to embrace what was already there, right? It forced us all to evolve much quicker than anticipated and assume an industrial revolution that we were all resisting, which was the fourth industrial revolution. Now, a bit of history right now. You guys grab your popcorn, get ready. History lesson, because I didn't know this. Okay, so the first
Manal, I'm
industrial.
about to get the popcorn. Can you? No, I'm joking. Sorry, go on.
Can you get the butter? Can you get the butter and the salt, Majid?
I'm not a butter person, funny enough. I'm more of a salt person, but no butter for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're ruining
Anyway.
popcorn experiences for everyone.
Oh, I know. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. All right. Sorry. Go on.
Thank you. So just to let you guys know, what's really interesting is the first industrial revolution was in 1784. This is when mechanization was introduced through a new energy source that never existed before, steam power. Second industrial revolution, 1870. The world saw mass production through the introduction of assembly lines. How? Again, through a new energy source, electrical energy. Now, the third industrial revolution is what we are still growing up with, we grew up with, we're super familiar with, and we're super resistant to change about. It's the automation of things, it's the computer of things, it's the internet of things, it's the electronic boom. Now, what's the fourth industrial revolution? This is what we're experiencing today, what we're actually resisting. It was introduced in 2011. We've been super slow in the uptake of it. And what did this new industrial revolution introduce or reinforce? It brought about automation, robotics. Robotics is a huge thing that kind of scares everyone. Data exchange, cyber physical systems, cloud and cognitive computing, artificial intelligence, and intelligent technologies. Now, all of these that have been listed are tools. They have been designed to accomplish four main goals. Interconnection. This is the ability for machines, devices, sensors, and people to connect and communicate with each other via the Internet of Things. Information transparency. This provides us with comprehensive information to make decisions on the spot. Technical assistance. It allows us with the ability to help humans with difficult or unsafe tasks. Decentralized decisions. The ability of cyber physical systems to make decisions on our behalf on their own and perform their task as autonomously as possible. So you can understand why we as humanity have been so resistant to this. If anyone's watched Terminator, you get it, right? I don't know about you, but there's always this new concept, mechanism, software, application, or something else that's being introduced daily to help us. And it seems like more and more we as humans are being put in the back seat, and tech and digitech is being put on the forefront. And the worst part is that we're expected to react, produce, and be reliable as much as tech or mechanics. I think more and more we're asking ourselves, how do we fit into this world? How does 300,000 plus years of humanity based on social and physical interaction function now? Where do we as humans fit in this world of digitization and remote working? And I want you to park this question here whilst I go through the rest of the presentation, and we'll be heading back to this point in a little bit. Now, what challenges did we actually see emerge us as an organization during COVID-19? You know, in this COVID-19 world, the fourth industrial revolution of digitech, we faced innumerable challenges. However, I'm picking what we as an organization have faced and what I believe many others here can relate to. The first challenge was resistant to change from both the individuals and the organizations. People were like, no, this is not happening. We're not going to change. Everything's normal. Everything's normal. Everything's normal. And this resistance to change is a killer, right? Because it debilitates you. You want to do something, but you're too scared to do it. Which leads to my second point, which is the lack of adaptive management. This is where you need to start being adaptive. This change happens, start adapting to it. And not only should you adapt, but you need to start undertaking robust decision-making in this time of uncertainty, which leads to the third point, resource management. You need to make decisions. The biggest decision is which resources do we invest in and how do we manage the resources that we're going to be investing in, which leads to the fourth point. That's when you kind of start analyzing your team and you're like, oh man, we don't have the skill sets required for this new world. You know, we don't have people that are strong in digitech and strong in, virtual, reality and in AI and in robotics. What skill sets are required for our team? And then you have the fifth one, which is lack of access to information. Everyone's running around like a headless chicken. Everyone's trying to go grab this information. What's needed? What do we need to do? Where are we going? It's kind of terra incognita, which is Latin for unknown territory, so to speak. You're kind of just driving and you have no idea where you're going, which leads to the sixth point. With all the top five that you've seen, what does that lead to? Complete burnout. Everyone was burnt out. And then after you're burning out, it's hard staying motivated, right? So we had a huge problem staying motivated and motivating one another and saying, you guys, come on, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And then you have people that started suffering from social isolation. They're staying home. We're trying to keep the team safe. We don't want them to be going out on the field. We want everyone to be safe, but they're suffering from social isolation. They're getting lonely. And then it's number 9, right? Where you kind of need to start rebuilding or building trust and security. People are starting to feel scared. People are like, what's going to happen to our jobs? What's going to happen to our future? What's happening to the organization? You need to start managing the workplace culture. You need to start rebuilding the trust and security. And then the 10th one is my favorite, to be honest, because since March of 2020 up till today, I think we all hear, sorry, the internet's not working. Zoom link isn't working, Microsoft Teams isn't connecting, and that is number 10, technical issues. Now, I'm going to take you through some statistics, and I want you to just mentally jot down what rings true to you or your colleagues. Now, from an organization's perspective, 68% of organizations are faced with the uncertainty around budgets, planning, and events. 45% of organizations struggle with organizing people or systems for remote work. 43% of organizations struggle with maintaining strong communications with external stakeholders. Now, from an employee's perspective, more than 50% of remote employees feel disconnected from the office employees, from their colleagues. 19% of remote employees report that loneliness is their biggest challenge. And 22% of remote employees report that unplugging after work is difficult. Now, I love this one quote by Mark Twain. The ability to find solutions to life's challenges is what makes you grow as a person. Now, the term challenges gets a really bad rep. Challenges for me is where we thrive. That's where we get to exercise those critical thinking skills, and we get to think outside the box and to be pushed outside our comfort zone. And this is where we come up with creative solutions, which leads me to my next point, solutions. In our organization, we recognize these are challenges, and it was time to start developing solutions. Now here, I'm listing out the top 5 methodologies we undertook to implement and drive change and to create those solutions. The first thing, which was super exciting, it was time to start experimenting. So I kind of challenge everyone. Go into your workforce, go into your organization and ask yourself, if you had $1 billion and you had never-ending resources, what would you do? Now, what this allows you to do is allows you to dream big and not be hindered by mental obstacles. Once we did that, we went to the next phase, right? We reinforced re-strategizing, reinforced contingency planning, adaptation management, change management. The most important part that we needed to remember is we need to understand that transformation transcends from the leaders. And this really, really ties into what Rahaf was stating earlier on. Now, once the above 2 were done, it was about focusing on working remotely and workplace safety. This, unfortunately, is a new norm of work, physical and remote workspaces. The next question was, how do we do that? We needed to create and deploy intelligent technology infrastructure, digitization, automation, AI, and robotics. And now, remember what I shared in slide 3, where I talked about mass advances in digitech and where do we as humanity fit in? Now, we need to remember that we in humanity kind of created this, right? This didn't just come up out of nowhere. We as humans created these tech solutions to be able to help us. We created these tools. We shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't shy away. This, much like mechanics, is a tool that we created to ease our lives. And advances that we have seen in the world in the in the world of digitech is massive. We need to just push our resistances to the side and start embracing it. And we have been completely debilitated, and it stopped us from progressing forward. We're in a state where we can't physically meet or see one another or interact as much as we wanted to. The world has changed. Ask yourselves, how do you want to use these technological solutions in providing or creating an environment that allows yourselves to maneuver in this new world? Now, after we completed the above four was when we kind of looked at ourselves and we were introspective. We looked at our team and thought about what skill sets do we need to adapt to this new model. We needed to focus on restructuring the organization, where focus was on redeveloping job descriptions and building skills. We needed to build our technical capacity. The roles of specialists, and this ties into what Ian was saying earlier on, the roles that you have now are not going to be relevant in the next 30 years. That's the unfortunate reality, or in the next, 9 years, in 2030. So the role of specialists just went out the window, and the role of generalists plus, just moved in, and it's here to stay for this fourth industrial revolution. Now, how did we kind of deploy these solutions? So the first thing that we needed to do was we needed to tackle the us versus them mentality. So every single organization has units. Every single unit thinks that they are the rock star and they work independently. And, there's this sort of, a bit of friendly competition, but not so friendly amongst different units. So it's very much this us versus them mentality. Make sure that everyone knows that they're part of a larger ship. There's no more us, there's no more them. It's a ship. We're all in this together. Make sure that everyone knows they have an integral role. Reassure them about their revised role and how this revised role is actually contributing to the organization's goals, and that only collectively can we do this together. There's no such thing as a unit. There's no such thing as a department. The physical clique culture is going to slowly but surely dissipate. Therefore, there should be no more us versus them. And how do you do that? You need to create a matrix structure in your organization. You need to create new SOPs. You need to create new communication channels, and you have to have more organization-based group meetings and not unit-based group meetings. It's about getting everyone in the organization together. The second thing, go digital. Get your remote working tools now. Get your project management software. Get ERP systems. When I talked about what resource management you're going to be looking at investing in, I'm talking about this. The implementation of digital tools that allow for the ease of collaboration. One, focus on deliverables versus hours when you implement these tools. Secondly, these tools are there for you to communicate. Communication is always, always, always key. Make sure that everyone is in the know at all times. The third thing, this allows you for regular check-ins and touching base more than you normally do. And fourth, turn on your camera and connect. Even though we're digital, we're kind of still need to kind of see one another, and it makes a huge difference. Now, the third thing is the self-guided tools to work remotely. And this is kind of where we as an organization really need to go foster that. Like, everyone's working from home. We're still not back. We don't have an office. How do we actually make sure that everyone's working remotely and they're working safely, but they don't suffer from the burnout and they don't suffer from, too much tech exposure? We humans, and you'll notice that I use this term very often, just to remember that at the end of the day, we are human. We are beings of habit. So the first thing that you do to work remotely is create a work trigger for your brain. The moment you wake up, get your cup of coffee, create an entire designated workspace. Make sure your desk is organized like it was at work. Second, stay motivated. And how do you stay motivated? Like, I know this is super old school, but believe me, studies have shown this. Create lists, and checking those lists off creates this sort of sense of self-motivation that makes you just feel so much better, instant gratification. The third thing, create a clear schedule for everything and make stringent switch off time when you're on a break or done with work, and make sure that when you do, you've removed yourself from the physical workspace to disconnect. Now, the fourth thing was employee encouragement and emotional support. Again, linking to what Rahaf was stating. Mental health, although intangible, is a real and very serious struggle. We have all suffered from feelings of isolation, loneliness, and feeling utterly disconnected. Mental health is a stigma in this region that we are slowly but surely collectively trying to eradicate, which is why everyone should feel completely open to asking for help when needed. And as leaders and entities, we need to provide those support to our colleagues. Show them that you care. Show them that they're important. They're your most important resource. We need to reassure them that, guess what, they aren't alone in feeling this way. And guess what, again, we have a solution for you if you want it, right? Like, lend out a helping hand. And the fifth is, again, leading back to Rahaf, which she was talking about earlier on, team building and interaction. So provide opportunities for social interaction. You know, we're social beings. We have that urge to just connect, you know, and that's why I say keep your camera on, you know, because it's so much better talking to a face than it is talking to a blank screen. And it makes a big difference when you're trying to sort of see your colleagues. You know, make sure you meet once a month, at least to assure that you're taking the right safety measures. Second, organize non-work social events. You're in a stressful environment. You want your team to connect in a way where they can see each other, in a different light, you know, in the light that creates a bond of friendship and reliance. This is where you rebuild trust. Team building can also be online as much as it can be offline. So experiment, do something different that excites people, boosts their morale and keeps them engaged, seeing that the organization is more than something than 9 to 5 source of income. Be imaginative in how you want to connect. Limit it to online. Have a trivia night, you know, create a bit friendly competition. If you're meeting in person, meet in nature, go for a hike, create a picnic, and make sure that you're still adhering to the safety measures, wear a mask, wear gloves, do the whole thing, keep social distancing. And now I'm reaching the end of this entire presentation, and I want to thank you all immensely for listening. I know I spoke a lot, but I'm extremely passionate about how we as an organization have adapted, even though it was a tough ride and we struggled and we were burnt out. But change is never meant to be easy. It's about making the best out of a horrible situation. And I can't necessarily promise, you know, great results, you know, but what I do promise is that if you adopt some of these tools and recommendations, then you can see some of these results. And these results, just worldwide statistics, 93% see better collaboration than before. 90% see better family and personal lives. 85% say stress was reduced. 80% say moral and engagement was improved. And 62% felt more trusted and respected. And I genuinely hope that we all get to experience this and make sure that this becomes our everyday reality, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. And with God's grace, bi'idhnillah, we get there. And thank you all so very much for listening. And I would like to hand this over to Majid. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Manal. I can never thank you enough for being with us tonight. I know it's 8 p.m. I know how difficult it is sometimes to sit and still have to dress up for a late night call. So thank you very much for being with us and being literally the star today. And it was great to hear a lot about WWF and what they're doing, all the initiatives. And I think it's very, very interesting, specifically for an NGO the size of WWF. So thank you very much for sharing your insights. We're going to leave the floor for questions. I know we're a bit late on time, but we're going to still have a bit of a Q&A. So feel free to raise your hand, ask any question in the chat box. In the meantime, I wanted to thank actually the Yalla consulting team as well. So I wanted to thank Ian for organizing this and putting this all together. Truly appreciate your time and for the great presentation. Of course, if I'm going to thank Ian, then I must thank Rahima, who's also behind a lot of this. So for those that don't know Rahima, Rahima is someone that I truly respect and maybe a bit biased. Sorry, Rahaf and Ian and Amal, but Rahima is behind a lot of this success. So she's literally the co-founder behind Yalla Consulting from day one, being involved in every little bit, including the name, actually, funny enough. So Rahima, thank you very much for your participation today, for your involvement, and for all the great work that you've been doing. So I'm trying to pick up a bit on perhaps points about being a good leader. So hopefully I'm doing a good job. But yes, but also thank you very much, Rahima, for that. Thank you for all the great work that you've put in. Obviously, dealing with someone like me is not the easiest, and I think Ian's caught up with that very quickly. Rahaf, of course, thank you so much for your great presentation, for putting all the key messages in. I think it was really greatly done. Made me reflect a lot about myself, and probably this is why I'm having to do this right now. But no, jokes aside, no, I actually want to appreciate everyone today. So thank you so much for that. We still have a chance for some questions. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. We also have Amal on the call. So Amal is our partner in Saudi Arabia. So Amal, thank you for being with us today, and thank you also for all the great work that you've added to Yalla Consulting. So appreciate it. We have Rana. Rana is our social media coordinator, so she's involved in a lot of the sort of success initially with Yalla Consulting, with getting social media up and running. So thank you very much, Rana, for being with us, and thank you for all the efforts that you've put together. So yeah, so guys, look, feel free to ask any questions. I don't want to be sitting and talking all throughout, because my team knows I talk a lot, and I think Manal, now that Manal and Manal is actually a client as well, so I'm very lucky to have Manal not only as a speaker today, but also as a client. It's amazing. So Manal probably listens to me a lot. Her team definitely listens to me a lot. She has one specific lady there that has to hear my voice every day at 11 a.m. now for the last 1 week. So she has to hear a lot. So team, please, guys, if you want to ask any questions, feel free to drop a line. We'll do this for the next 5 minutes and then we'll call it off. I know it's late. I know it's 11. Sorry, 8. Oh, 11. No, never mind. That's a football game tonight. And yesterday, sorry.
Imagine that's a sign you need to rest.
Yeah, that's actually true. Actually, funny enough, I was telling this to Ian and Rahima before we started. I was actually I took a Panadol before this call. Late night yesterday, football game, but it was an amazing football game, so we won, so that's all that matters. But yeah, funny enough, our coaching and training partner was there to support my mental wellness and health, by being there, watching it with me, and she was supporting me a lot, but then I'm not gonna go there. Anyways, but yeah. Any questions? Come on, we have a few people still on the call. Any questions? Any comments?
Maybe they want to reflect on what we have been presenting tonight. So maybe they could reach out to us after the presentation, and we would be there to answer their questions and take it from there.
That's a very good idea. So I'm gonna just drop on the chat the official email for Yalla Consulting. So please drop us an email, let us know what your thoughts are, etc. Once again, and follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Thank you very much for the advertisement, Ralph. Very good job. And yes, thank you once again, Manal, for being with us tonight. Absolute pleasure. And wish everyone a very happy rest of the week. Tomorrow is a Thursday, so happy Thursday in advance. I know some of us have a cheesecake to look forward to. I'm talking about Ian Edgar specifically, but anyways.
Ian,
yes.
Is it Sainsbury's? Is it a Sainsbury's cheesecake?
No, it's not. No. White chocolate cheesecake, my favorite.
White chocolate. Where'd you get it from normally?
Waitrose.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
There's a place for cakes, Ian. I'm going to introduce you to it. Ribbons and balloons, best cakes ever.
I'm up for that. Yes, I like cakes and chocolate.
Ian, the correct answer would have been, Rahaf, since you're a mental health and wellness coach, rather than introducing me or tell me about this store, how about you bring me the cake and let us get together,
For my birthday, never received a cake.
On that note, Rah's birthday is coming up in 2 days. So the tradition, apparently in the Lebanese culture says when it's your birthday, you bring the cake for everybody. So make sure it's gluten-free, healthy, keto, all that kind of good stuff. Yes.
All right,
So,
everyone.
Awesome. Thank you all for attending. Good night. And yeah, take care.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's such a pleasure.
Bye
And
all.
have a wonderful evening.
Bye-bye.